Bus's Retirement Garage. Thursday, a rainy day in Cleveland. Hope you're doing well. I mentioned in one of my live broadcasts about traditional Medicare, how I like Plan N, and how me and Mrs. Buzz, my wife, are both on Plan N, which is traditional Medicare, because, and one of the things I talked about was because there's no pre-authorizations. And, having a cancer history in my past, there were some things done that it just took longer because of pre-authorizations, and I wanted to avoid that. That was one of my reasons. So getting a Plan G or a Plan N basically eliminates those pre-authorizations. So I had spoke about that on my live show, and a couple people informed me that there's going to be some changes to what I said. And I said, how so? So I got a few emails from a couple subscribers or viewers who enlightened me about a change that's being made by CMS. So CMS is the Center for Medicare and Medicaid. And I wrote down some notes. I don't have a teleprompter like Rob Berger does. He's got a teleprompter. So if I'm looking down, I apologize in advance. But so I looked up. There's a couple articles that they sent me, and I also looked up Chat GPT. So that's my source for this information, so you know where it came from. But starting January 1st of 2026, so right around the corner, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid (CMS) is implementing prior authorization requirements for certain traditional original Medicare services under a pilot program called Wasteful and Inappropriate Service Reductions model. And it's only going to be, before everybody gets all up in arms, it's only going to be implemented as a pilot program in a few states. So those states are going to be Arizona, New Jersey, Ohio, where I'm at. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, and Washington, where my brother and his family's at. So, and I didn't know this. And I'm so glad that they were able to the subscribers and viewers were able to tell me about this so I could do some investigation, so I can tell you guys about it, or at least what I know about it. And if you want this cutting edge information on a normal basis, please like and subscribe so that you can get further notifications of changes like this. I think it's important that we stay. If you're a retired person like I am, I think it's important that we stay up on the latest information. So if you subscribe, I will try to forward that information to you as quick as I get it. And I tell you what, these viewers and subscribers I have keep me on my toes, and I appreciate that very much. But so they're going to start out with this pilot program. Is going to start out. And here's what they say. The goal of the WISER model is to reduce fraud, waste, and they're targeting services that are high cost, frequently overused, and or vulnerable to abuse. So I don't really have a problem with what they're saying. Now, how they implement it, we're going to see. We're going to see how it goes. This could be a good thing. This could turn into something that we don't want. But remember, with Advantage plans, you're basically, almost everything that you want done in an Advantage plan is going through some type of pre-authorization. So having just a few, and they've listed as 17 things that they're going to want, a traditional Medicare is going to want a pre-authorization for. Now, original Medicare will affect your Plan N and Plan G. So if you're on those two and you're in one of those states, you will be affected by this pilot program. So I'll go through some of the 17 things. I mean, you're going to see a trend here, or what they're talking about, which is, well, before I do that. So gold card exemptions, or they're calling it gold card exemptions according to ChatGPT. So they're providers with a strong track record of 90% approval rates may qualify to bypass prior authorizations in the future. So in other words, if you're dealing with a doctor or hospital, the way I take that, if you're dealing with a doctor or hospital that has a good track record of not putting a lot of stuff out there that maybe is unnecessary, according to CMS, is unnecessary, you're probably not going to have to play around with all these pre-authorizations. Like if they do some of these things, they're limited and they're not doing it over and over and over. They're not abusing it. So your doctor or hospital may not be affected in the future once they get a little bit of a track record here of what's going on. That's how I take it anyway. Original Medicare only, not affecting Advantage plans. Like I said, Advantage plans, you're already going through pre-authorizations, and that's why some people like me like the Plan N or the G, because we didn't have to do any pre-authorizations, and we can go anywhere. We're not in an HMO, which means you're not locked into certain doctors or certain hospitals. You can go anywhere in the United States that takes Medicare, your Medicare card, your red, white, and blue card. So and for a number of reasons, I chose Plan N. Now I just did a search for somebody by their zip code. They live in Queens, New York, and their Plan N starts at well over I think it was $235 or $250 a month. And I thought to myself, boy, that's pretty costly. And the Plan G was in the touching the $300 range per month. So for him, an Advantage plan may be better. He may be better off with an Advantage plan, and so he doesn't have that upfront monthly cost. You know, 3 bills is a lot of money, especially to us retirees. So some of the things that they're talking about, and like I said, you'll see a trend here in the first few, and there's sacral nerve stimulation for urinary incontinence. Now, if you're a doctor or a nurse and you want to chime in what you think about this, I would appreciate that. I think everybody who reads the comments would appreciate your take on this. Like I said, if you're a doctor, nurse, or whatever, if you have involvement or experience with what's coming, and give us your take on it, we'd really appreciate it. Phrenic nerve stimulator. Deep brain stimulation, vagus nerve stimulation. Now, I haven't a clue what any of these things are. I didn't dig deep enough. Induced lesions of nerve tracts, hypoglossal nerve stimulation. So you see this trend of nerve stimulation. And they're not saying, and don't get me wrong, they're not saying you can't have it if the doctor wants you to have it. All they're saying is that you're going to have to get a pre-authorization for that, just like with an Advantage plan. Epidural steroid injection, cervical fusion, skin substitution, diagnosis and treatment of impotence, and incontinence control devices, and a few other things that I can't pronounce. So we'll leave it at that. But let's see, number 4. Yeah, so what it looks like is they're going to start this pilot program. Now, what happens in 2027, 2028 is going to be determined. And I stand corrected. When I said there's no pre-authorizations for N and G, I can no longer say that, at least for those states. And if you missed those states, they're Arizona, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, and Washington is the rollout. Now, do we have more fraud than other states? I don't know. I know, obviously, Ohio has the Cleveland Clinic, University Hospital Systems, SUMA. So the Cleveland and Ohio in general has a lot of hospitals and doctors, and maybe they're looking at where there's high concentrations of those type of facilities. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But so yes, we're going to have us under Plan N in Ohio, meaning me. Any of those things that I read off, I'm going to have to get a pre-authorization for, which is interesting. because, like I said, we touted Plan N and G not ever having pre-authorizations. Now I got to take that back. I got to walk that back, as they say, and we're going to have to deal with. Now, those stimulation things, I've never had any of those things done. If you have, let us know in the comments. I'd appreciate, without getting into HIPAA laws or your privacy or anything like that, but if you want to make mention of some of those things that I talked about and why you needed them, and did the doctor push them on you, or did you think that they helped if you did get them? Be very curious to know and see where this thing is going. But anyway, we'll keep it short and we'll keep it at that. And if you have questions, comments, put them down there. Like and subscribe so we can continue to tell you about these ever-changing things in our world. Well, this is Retirement Garage. Take care.